Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with that brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shop here today. Taking a go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though the big release is Ready Player One, and I believe Target has an edition of that, like a lenticular cover one, and Best Buy has a Steelbook. I don't know if Walmart has anything for that, so definitely going to look and see the versions of that today. Also, the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about, so definitely stay tuned for those at the end of this video. And also, if you guys haven't seen it yet, yesterday I put up a video going to the Dollar Tree looking for the dollar DVDs and Blu-rays because those are back. Also, too, I have both of my Comic-Con tour video and video on preview night up as well if you guys haven't seen those. But anyway, though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And over here, like I said, the big release today was Ready Player One. And I have to go to the front of the store. I don't see the lenticular out here, but the 4K of that one is $29.99. The standard Blu-ray is $24.99. And the regular DVD actually has an alternate cover on that, so that's kind of cool, you know, as well. Other than that, though, that's all the new things that I'm noticing today. I think this one might be today, this National Parks thing. I don't know for sure, but Ready Player One, though, is definitely one I really liked a lot. I talked about that one last week, so I would definitely recommend that one. But like I said, not really seeing anything else over here on sale or anything like that that I'm noticing today. But we'll probably head over now, though, to the front so you guys can show you how that one looks, though. The lenticular one is pretty cool, though, how it changes between the characters. But like I said, though, in the front of the store, you know, they have the lenticular, and they actually have a 4K lenticular for $29.99, so it's the same price as the standard 4K, and a Blu-ray lenticular, so that's pretty cool. They don't always do something like that, and like I said, it doesn't change between the characters, but it changes between the main character's avatar, so the way he looks in the game, you know, as the way he looks as himself, and then when he goes into the game world. And it says something on here like Target exclusive includes behind-the-scenes set tour with the author, so that's one of the exclusives as well. I guess it's a bonus disc. I don't think it's a digital version. I'm not sure. If you guys have picked this one up, let me know if it is the exclusive feature is an actual disc or, you know, something you know look at on Vudu or something like that. But definitely a very cool one. Like I said, cool they did the 4K and the standard Blu-ray as well in that, because like I said, they don't always do that so often. Into Walmart we go. And there's one horror movie that I want to try and find today. It's from the director of the original Martyrs. It's like, you know, a great movie, but like a really hard watch film. But keep my fingers crossed that they put it out. They should have it, but I hope they have, because sometimes the stuff, you know, it's more obscure stuff isn't on the shelf, so we shall see. But in here, though, they have some kind of an exclusive edition here of Ready Player One. I didn't even know they were having this. That includes in here a Rubik's Cube keychain in here. So here's the Rubik's Cube thing. That one's, so it seems like it's the same. No, so if the one with the Rubik's Cube, that one is $5 more than the standard, DVD, you know, standard DVD Blu-ray combo one. But that is pretty cool, though. This Rubik's Cube thing in here, and it has on there RP1 for Ready Player One. And then they don't seem to have that too many of those. I don't think they have a 4K one of that. And then, you know, the 4K, you know, 4K one with the Rubik's Cube. And then the 4K one is $29.99. They also have an exclusive cover here for the DVD, because the Target one was a totally different image. And this one is like the characters and then their avatars, which is kind of like sort of a spoiler, you know what I mean, for some of the characters, you know, that they actually show what they look like already, because that was kind of like a big twist in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it is a kind of a cool cover to it, though. But that one's $16.99 for that edition. But they do have the one that I wanted to get, this one called Incidents in a Ghostland. Like I said, this is from the director of the original Martyrs. The remake of Martyrs was okay, you know, it was like watchable. But this, you know, the original Martyrs, though, was such a cool movie. But like I said, a really hard watch. This one is $12.96, but I'm definitely going to get this one. This one, though, didn't get a Blu-ray release, so that's like the only one there is. And I believe this was today, this Top Gear A to Z. And then I think this came out today as well, this the complete series of Gravity Falls, the Disney Channel show. And they had this thing in here which I think is new. I don't remember ever seeing this. It's like a 4 complete seasons of Family Matters. It's in this kind of a set here like this. But I don't, you know, it's $34.96, but I don't recall ever seeing this together. It's the first 4 seasons together. They have a couple other ones like that, like The Librarians, first 4 seasons of Sopranos, and like, I think those are the only ones, and 3 seasons here of Fresh Prince, but I
think these might be newer ones, especially like I don't remember seeing this one though.
Yeah, so like I said, I ended up picking up The Incident in a Ghostland. You know, hopefully this one is good. I read some decent reviews on this one. If you guys have seen it, though, let me know what you thought of it. Like I said, though, it's a shame, though, it's only on DVD, but that's how it seems like a lot of stuff is. You know, some of the smaller horror films and stuff.
Into the CRC resale store we go.
So I'll take a look and see what's in here. They had these sets in here, these original Mythbusters. These were like these volume sets that they used to sell at the Discovery Channel store. I don't know if you guys remember that place. It's been closed now for a long time, but it was like the channel actually had their own store and had like educational type things and stuff sort of related to shows on the channel. This was an interesting one I've never saw before. Brian Hook's movie, The Luau. And then stuff in here you see all the time, like Family Guy. The Red Eye, though, hopefully some point that one gets a Blu-ray release. I can't believe that still has yet to come to Blu-ray. And everything in here is kind of like individually marked. They're not all like one set price. It seemed like kind of like $3 and $9 for some of the TV series. But, you know, not amazing prices for the things in here. And other than that, though, they had this one, Chill Factor. I remember when this movie first came out. It was like one of those things I remember hearing about it, you know, a lot. And then, like, you never hear about that movie anymore. And it was kind of like a movie really similar to Speed. This movie, for first 20 million, that was kind of a funny movie. I remember watching that when that first came out. But in here, though, like I said, look through all this, and nothing really that different that I found.
And this past weekend, the only movie that I saw at the theaters was Unfriended Dark Web. And I will say, though, you definitely do not have to have seen the first movie to pick up on this one. It's totally its own story. The only thing that's similar about it is that it's, you know, takes place through a computer and through, like, Skype, and it's all through, like, the computer screens and everything. The first Unfriended movie, I remember, you know, thinking that it was an okay film. It wasn't perfect. Some of it was kind of like over the top, and it wasn't like a super memorable movie. This one, to be honest, though, I liked this one a lot, and it was actually really creepy, the whole thing about what was going on. It was a really, like, creepy thing. It's basically about this guy who ended up getting this new computer that, you know, was a used computer that he got off of Craigslist. And he goes into it, and he has to, like, you know, as soon as he turns it on, it's password protected, and then he, you know, figures out how to get into it. And then it's, like, already logged into someone's, you know, the autofill is on there for someone's Facebook and stuff like that. And he discovers, too, that the computer is full, but he doesn't see any files. And he's talking to his friends through Skype, also having a problem back and forth with his girlfriend. And of course, though, he discovers that there's something on this computer, and it doesn't become a good thing, and it's kind of like this whole nightmare situation for him and the friend. So this got a similar kind of thing about a group of people online having a problem, just like in the first movie. But like I said, it's totally its own entity, and I actually think this one, to me, was a way better movie. I feel like this movie, the way how it was done, everything, I really, honestly, you know, you guys should definitely check this one out. It only opened at like a little over 1,000 something theaters, so it didn't get a huge release. So if you guys are interested in seeing it, I would see it pretty soon, as it probably won't be in the theaters that long. And also, too, there's a thing that's kind of interesting, too, is there's two different endings to the movie. So you could end up with seeing one ending, you know, at one time, or one ending in a different theater. So that's kind of a cool thing as well. I'm sure when it comes to Blu-ray, though, they'll have the option to choose the ending, maybe. I don't know. But that was a pretty cool thing that it actually, like I said, it has two different endings to it. But if you guys saw, you know, Unfriended Dark Web this weekend, let me know what you guys thought of it, or what films you guys got to see this weekend, if you guys saw anything.
Into Best Buy we go. And they have a standee over here. In the front, though, they were totally sold out of the Steelbooks. I didn't see any of them. I see one left here of the standard Steelbook. I believe there's a 4K one as well. I think this is $29.99 for this one. It's a pretty cool image on this one. Yeah, that one actually shows the image on the back as well, so I guess it's not really a spoiler, you know, showing the characters, I guess. But when I didn't, you know, saw the movie in the theaters, I didn't, you know what, like, a couple of the characters, you know, look like. Like I said, pretty cool Steelbook for that. I actually look on the section as well, though, to see if they have the 4K Steelbook. And yeah, actually over here, though, in the section, they don't seem like they put the, you know, Ready Player One over here at all. And like I said, in the front, they, you know, those were sold out. So these definitely seem like Steelbooks that have gone pretty quick today. Because you never know with Steelbooks. Sometimes there can be ones they have like tons and tons of copies. At least I would say for Ready Player One, that seems like one that's, you know, going pretty quick. If you guys, you know, saw a lot of them in your, you know, location, let me know. Other than that, though, not really seeing anything else too big today. Like, 2 weeks from now, I think it's like August 7th, I believe. There's a whole lot of stuff releasing, like Predators collection, and there's lots and lots of stuff then. But other than that, though, nothing really too different here today.
So anyway though guys, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also let me know in the comments below what you guys picked up today, if you guys picked up anything. Now stay tuned now for a whole bunch of new DVD and Blu-ray reviews.
And before we get to the reviews, I wanted to show you guys these cool FY exclusive steelbooks that are out now. You guys can get these ones on the website or in FYEs in person. And this is the Al Pacino Sean Penn film directed by Brian De Palma, and this is Carlito's Way. This is the serial book for that. And these ones are only available at FYE, as well as The Incredible Hulk, and this is the one starring Edward Norton. So pretty cool ones. The Incredible Hulk one includes a digital copy of the film as well. Like I said, though, just wanted you guys know that these ones are available now, the exclusive FYE releases.
And the first ones I got here from Shout Factory Scream Factory line. This is a movie here called Wildling, which stars Bel Powley, Brad Dourif, and Liv Tyler. And this movie was a really cool movie. It's basically, though, about, Brad Dourif and his daughter, and, they live out in the middle of nowhere in this, like, small cabin. And he's like telling his daughter, you can't leave this room because outside of, in the woods is the wildling. And it's this creature that eats kids, and you're one of the last kids left, so you can't leave. And like the door is locked, and it has like electrified, so you can't get out. And he says, oh, that's just because the wildling will try and come in here if this door isn't electric, and it's to keep you safe. And he starts like when she gets to be like a little older, he starts injecting her with this serum, and saying that you're very sick and you need this. And she starts like getting worse and worse with like this sickness, and you see him continuing to inject her. And this is years later. When she's a teenager, his character ends up attempting to kill himself, but ends up, she ends up getting taken in by the police when, he's in the hospital, and, they're kind of trying to figure out what to do with her. Where she's going to go, and she ends up going and staying with Liv Tyler, who's the sheriff in the town. And it's essentially, though, about, like, this girl, has kind of never, ever left the house before. She's only ever been in this room. She's going out there trying to, like, actually seeing the world, and, she starts to kind of, like, like Liv Tyler's son in the film. And it's essentially, though, there is something really weird going on. And, there was a reason for everything that was happening. You kind of come to find out, and you come to notice, too, that when she's not being injected, things start to change and things start to happen. But honestly, though, I really, really got into this movie. This was a really, really cool movie. I didn't know a whole lot going into this, but I thought Brad Dourif was really great in this movie as well. Also, Bel Powley, she's in, like, been a bunch of stuff, like Equals, and I think it was, like, I can't remember the other one. She's been in a bunch of different things, though. She did a really, really good job in this. And this has on here, though, deleted scenes, outtakes, and a trailer on this one. But definitely, guys, check this one out. Check out the trailer. There's another one from them I liked a lot as well, called Lowlife. This is done like in the kind of the style of like Pulp Fiction, where like the characters all kind of connect together, and it's kind of played out of order a little bit. And like I said, this movie here is called Lowlife. This is essentially, though, it all revolves around this one guy who's kind of like the bad criminal guy who runs this Mexican restaurant. And in the basement of this place, he's up to like no good. He has like people that are kidnapped in there, and prostitution, and all kinds of really bad things going on. He's like a really terrible, sleazy guy. And essentially, though, you see like the one guy who works for him, that he goes and like kidnaps people and brings them in there, and then like he's doing the prostitution stuff with them. It deals with one woman who runs this motel, and she has like her husband who's really sick and needs a kidney transplant. And then it deals with a masked Mexican wrestler character who is kind of like works for the guy in the restaurant. And like I said, all the characters kind of connect in a way, and you kind of find out about them. It also deals with one guy who got out of prison, and he's just trying to figure out what he's going to do. And he's like his friend that he took the rap for is like kind of getting ready to take him back to his house, and just kind of figure out where this guy is going to go after all this. But they all are kind of connected in as well to this main guy who's like the criminal guy. Like I said, this guy was great. He was in a couple other movies that they released as well, that Shout Factory released. I think one called Reality. But this movie, though, it's really, really hard to explain, but it sort of just deals with this whole criminal thing that he's up to, and these characters,
and like the one Mexican wrestler's character, like his girlfriend is pregnant, but she has some connection to the woman who runs the motel. So like I said, everyone connects together, and it's really cool to see how they kind of, you know, because like I said too, the movie's kind of played out of order, so then you kind of find out the, you know, because, you know, you see one thing, but then you see the other character's perspective, and then you go, okay, that's how that connected to that. I don't know, really, really cool. This has on here, though, commentary track on here with the director and co-writer on here, as well as a commentary track on here with some of the actors on this one, and as well as a making of feature on this one. But like another one, really would recommend this, you know, to you guys check that one out. This one is from Shot Factory as well, and it's called Pyewacket. I'm not sure how to say this one, Pyewacket. And this one is from the producers of, you know, The Witch. This is actually pretty creepy movie, though. All these ones, too, are IFC titles as well through the Scream Factory line. And this is basically, though, about this girl who her and her friends are really into, like, witchcraft and the occult. And, like, that's kind of, like, their whole thing. And they, like, really into this one author who does, like, books on all kind of, like, occult kind of things, kind of like a Stephen King kind of guy, and she even goes to like a signing for him to meet him and says, you know, you should talk more about more occult stuff in the book and get more into the witchcraft aspect and everything. But essentially, though, her mother, though, ends up having to, because for one reason or another, they're having money problems, they have to move out to the other area, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and she's, like, giving this girl, like, all kinds of grief in her life, too, and, like, saying, you know, you have these friends, and, you know, these are, like, kind of, like, really aren't amounting to much in their life, these people, and, you know, you're really messing around so much with all this kind of occult kind of stuff, and this is a big waste of time, so they end up, you know, moving out to the middle of nowhere, and this girl is not happy about this at all, and she's like, well, you can still continue going to the school to finish out this year, but then it's, you know, you have to find a new school to go to. And basically, though, this girl, you know, gets in this terrible fight with her mother about all this stuff that's going on, and about her kind of picking on her about her life and everything. So she ends up, you know, dealing with some occult stuff, and ends up calling this creature, basically, and it kind of goes and, like, you know, wreaks havoc on their life and everything, and it's like becomes a really creepy sort of, I guess you would say, kind of like an Evil Dead kind of vibe, you know, in the woods kind of aspect, as they're out in the middle of nowhere where they're living, and there's all kinds of really creepy stuff going on. Another one, though, really thought this was a cool movie, has on here, though, a making of featurette on this one. The next one here is from Lionsgate, and this is the remake of Overboard, but this one, you know, it's role reversal, though, because this one, it's basically, though, in the original, though, it was the female character who ended up going all over the boat, who was the rich woman. This one, it's a rich guy, and he ends up going over the boat and forgetting who he is. And this is basically, though, stars, you know, Anna Faris and Eugenio Derbez. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but it's basically, though, she ends up working for him, and he's like this really rich guy who lives on this yacht, and he's like, I don't think he like lives on the yacht, but he's like always out in his yacht, and he like has lots of women and everything, and he's kind of always just spending his money and not really thinking of anything. And she comes there to work as a carpet cleaner, and like her life, Anna Faris's character's life, is like kind of a mess at the time, because her mother is going to go and act on this kind of stage play, so she's going to leave, so she can't watch the kids, you know, because she was helping, you know, Anna Faris's character watch the kids and stuff, but she's leaving, so everything in her life is kind of falling to shambles, and she ends up going to clean, you know, the guy's character's, you know, yacht, and then they get in this huge fight, and she's like, you know, about like, because he's kind of telling her to do all these things and telling her stuff to do, and it's like not at all in her description, and basically she ends up getting fired, and, you know, from the boat, and he ends up throwing off her carpet cleaning stuff in the boat out in the water, so she owes all this money. But essentially, though, later that night, his character ends up falling overboard in the boat, and then waking up in the hospital, forgetting who he is. And Anna Faris's character ends up, you know, discovering that, you know, he fell overboard. So she ends up coming up with the idea of, you know, kind of pretending like they're married, so she can kind of use him to help, you know, help around the house and basically watch these kids while she's, you know, at work, because there's no one to watch them anymore because her mother went away to this like stage play thing that she was doing. I thought it was great, though, because it was like, you know, his character like is going and doing these kind of jobs that he's never done before, so there's all kind of like fish out of water kind of situations for him, because he's like, I don't feel like this is something that I would have done, and she's like, no, you like doing this is what you do, you like working all these hours and everything. I thought it was really funny. I really liked the main actor. You know, he was in Instructions Not Included and How to Be a Latin Lover. I think he's really, really funny. I thought both of them were really good in this movie, and I thought, honestly, I like the original film a lot, but I thought this really was a fun, remake. And I think it definitely, if you guys like the original, was definitely worth watching. On here, though, it has a commentary track on here with the writer and director, and then some featurettes on the film. But definitely, if you guys are a fan of the original, and you guys like, Eugenio Derbez, like I said, from How to Be a Latin Lover, and Instructions Not Included, definitely check this out. And also, Anna Faris, too, was really good in the movie as well. And the next one I got here is from Lionsgate. It's a movie starring Jim Carrey called Dark Crimes. This is basically, though, about Jim Carrey's character as this police detective, and something ended up happening, and he ends up basically on desk duty. And there's, he kind of wants to finally redeem himself and hopefully be able to go out and have, like, cases again where he's not, stuck at his desk. And there's this one case that was never solved about this murder, and it was something that kind of had bothered him forever, that it wasn't figured out, and it was something that he always really wanted to kind of get to the bottom of. But he ends up like starting to think that it might be this author who's like a very popular author who's like people really look up to, and he's written these books, and he's gotten really like a huge fan base. But he ended up in one of his books writing, and it was one of the books that it was only on an audio tape. He only had an audio version of it. That's the only way that it was actually released. But on there, he's like talking about this detailed crime, and it's like about how this person was killed and all this kind of stuff, and it sounds exactly like this murder. And it's kind of like this murder, though the details of this murder were never released publicly. So Jim Carrey's character is thinking, this is obviously the person. So he kind of brings him in to kind of question him. It's kind of about like doing so, though. This guy, like I said, is very powerful and like very popular. It's not really a great thing, and it kind of like ravels around things in his life, and things do not go great for Jim Carrey because of this. And there's actually lots of really interesting twists and turns in this movie with what's going on. And there's like a different role for Jim Carrey as well. But I thought this one actually was a really pretty interesting, thriller where you don't exactly know. Like I said, there's a lot of whole twists to the whole thing. It's a very, very dark film, dark subject matter and everything. But I don't know. I think this one, if you guys are a fan of Jim Carrey too and want to see him in a really different kind of part, I would recommend that one. This is one here, another one. This is one I really thought this was a great movie. This is about the LA riots, and it stars Halle Berry and Daniel Craig, and it's called Kings. And I really got into this movie. It's basically, though, it's set. It's not all like about the LA riots themselves, but it's like set during the time that these were going on, and it's also like says like 30 days or 40 days till the riot. So it's kind of like what was going on in LA and California around the time, and like the stuff with Rodney King and about the beating, what the police and everything. So it's kind of like all the stuff that was going on with that in the world. In LA, and it's kind of like leading up to when the riots happened. And it's basically, though, about Halle Berry's character, and she's kind of, it's kind of with her life and raising her, she has these, she's basically a adopted mother to a bunch of these kids, and she's basically taking care of them, and it's kind of about her trying to have money to pay for the, the kids and have the food for everything, and it also deals with the kids, though, having to go out and kind of stealing food because they don't have any food in the house. So it's all kind of dealing with that going on, but it's, then it leads up to, like I said, to the riots and everything. So it's sort of like a family kind of drama about her life, and Daniel Craig is the next door neighbor that she kind of has like doesn't really get along with, and he's kind of always like in his like kind of like drinking and kind of messing around in his house and kind of like yelling at the kid, yelling at her kids and everything. Like I said, it's basically, it also deals too with Halle Berry's like older kids, and they're kind of getting into some bad stuff that's going on. Like I said, it's a whole family kind of drama dealing with her life leading up to the riots. But honestly, though, another one, if you guys interested in this one, check out the trailer. But I really thought this was a great movie. I'm always a fan too of Halle Berry, and I thought she did a really, really good job in this one. Same with Daniel Craig. The next one here is from Lionsgate as well, and this is a show that airs on Starz, and this is going to be returning in 2019, another season of this. It's a movie here, a TV series here starring J.K. Simmons called Counterpart. This is a really interesting series. It's basically, though, about J.K. Simmons' character, and he works at this kind of like government type building, and I think it was in Berlin, and it's like this they're doing like weird sort of like, he goes into rooms and it's like between like a plain, like a glass window, there's another person on the other side, and he kind of goes in, they both open up this briefcase and like read kind of codes, and they're like checking off things. He's like, the cow goes to this tonight, and then the moon rises over this, and they like check off these weird things, and everything is kind of written in code, and you're kind of like, what are they doing here? What is all of this? And it, even, you know, even his character, J.K. Simmons' character, has worked at this building for years doing this same mundane thing where he's reading off these codes and he doesn't know what he's doing at all. You know, he doesn't know what this actually means. He just sort of does what his job is, but he has no clue what the whole meaning of all that what he's doing is. And essentially, though, the one day when he goes into work, he gets called to the office, and he goes into the office, and they say, you need to talk to this person, and this person has like a bag over their head. They take off the bag, and it's someone that looks exactly like J.K. Simmons. It's basically his counterpart, like his doppelganger, and he's kind of like, what is going on here? And they kind of tell him that there is an alternate world, reality, that this place had basically done some experiments like 30-40 years back, where they have a connection to the other reality, and people can kind of come over, and somebody is coming over from the other world where the other J.K. Simmons is, who is the other version of him, is a totally different, real tough guy, really different kind of personality. The J.K. Simmons in our reality is a much more normal, calm kind of guy. But essentially, though, someone is kind of coming over and killing people from this branch where they're doing these coding and everything, and they kind of need J.K. Simmons' character in this reality to kind of help figure out what's going on. And like, I just started watching this, but this is actually a really, like I said, a pretty interesting show. This has on here, though, some featurettes on the show, but I would recommend you guys check this one out. Like I said, there's going to be I don't think a second season is aired yet. I'm pretty sure the second season is what's coming in 2019. And this one here is from Lionsgate as well. And this is a History Channel show, and this is The Men Who Built America, the Frontiersmen. This is the second season of this show, the second series of this show. This is basically all, this is produced by Leonardo DiCaprio as well. And this is basically talking all about the history of America during like the Western kind of time, I guess you would say, where it talks with like, how the icons of, Daniel Boone, Lewis and Clark, Davy Crockett, Kit Carson, and it's all about kind of like, each thing here is basically reenactments, but really, really well-produced reenactments, and then it's like history, people who are into history, who have basically followed history and like can kind of tell you all the details about it. It's sort of them, cut in talking about, when he was younger he did this, but it's them kind of talking about it. But then it has the reenactment footage about the kind of about their life and kind of the big events that they had done. But it's really, really well produced and really well shot and everything, and like really good production values on this one. So like I said, just want to let you guys know this one is available, and this is The Men Who Built America, Frontiersmen. And the next ones I got here are from Fox, and this is the final film in the Maze Runner series. This is Maze Runner: The Death Cure, and I honestly can't really say much about the movie, the plot, or anything, because it kind of ruins stuff about the other films, like some really big twists and stuff like that. The first movie, though, kind of is a film that has like a vibe to me of like Lord of the Flies mixed with a film Cube, kind of mixed together, about these characters that end up waking up in this kind of like jungle kind of world where they see this enormous maze in front of them. They don't really know why they're there. They can't remember anything about their past or anything, and like in this maze, it's kind of like there's like these creatures and stuff in there. They're trying to figure out how to get through and get out of where they are. But this, is like I said, the third film in the series, and it deals with this extreme sickness and stuff. Walter Goggins is in this movie as well. But I thought this is a really cool film. I thought this was definitely my, out of the two sequels, though, this was the best one. I thought part 2 was okay. I didn't absolutely love it, but this one really, really was cool. This has on here, though, a commentary track on here with the director. It has a bunch of different featurettes from the film. It has deleted and extended scenes on here, a gag reel. Next one here is from Fox as well, and this is a movie called Love, Simon. And the one actress on this is the main actress from the show 13 Reasons Why. This is basically, though, about this kid who, named Simon, who has not told any of his friends that he's gay, and like he ends up like communicating though with this one kid through these messages, through these emails, and this kid is gay as well at school, but neither of them have, told any, their friends in the real world either. In life, real life, they've only been communicating on these emails, but neither of them know who each other are. And it's essentially, though, the main character, though, he hasn't told his friends he's gay, he hasn't told his parents he's gay, he's told nobody except this one person that he's writing to in these emails. And the whole movie is basically about him, kind of falling in love with this person that he doesn't know through emails. And it's kind of like he knows that this person is at school, though. So he's kind of like going through the day thinking, like kind of imagining, oh, maybe it's this person, and kind of like imagining what his life would be if he was with this person. And it's kind of one of those movies when you're the whole time wondering, like, who is the person that he's talking to. I thought this was absolutely a great movie, a really, really, really well-made movie, well-written film. I don't know, I really like this one a lot. This has on here deleted scenes on here. It has a commentary track on here with the director, as well as some featurettes on the movie, but one definitely would recommend you guys check out. The next one here is the 4K Ultra HD edition of the film starring Jennifer Lawrence called Red Sparrow. This is the same director who directed, I believe it was the first Hunger Games film, and for some reason I think it was Pleasantville, but I might be totally wrong about that. I feel like he directed Pleasantville. But this movie, though, I didn't honestly get into this movie too much. I thought Jennifer Lawrence, though, was really, really good in the movie. She did a really good job playing this girl who was kind of taken in when she was young by this kind of like spy-type agency they kind of would break down people, too, the way that they would treat them. And, it's like they would start them out as kids and then kind of like train them up to work for this kind of like sort of spy, kind of like hitman kind of agency and everything. And that's essentially what this one was, about her on this like mission and everything. But like I said, I didn't think this one was that perfect, honestly. It's okay. Like when I saw the trailer for this, I thought the trailer looked so cool and like really looked like this was going to be an amazing movie. 4K wise though, it's a really, really atmospheric, like the look and the color scheme of this movie, so it does definitely look good on 4K. This is one of those ones, I'd say check out the trailer to this one, but like I said, I did not love this movie. It's got a bunch of features on here though, a bunch of featurettes. It has a commentary track on here with the director, some deleted scenes on here. I said, just want you guys know that's available. The next one here is from Sony. It's a movie starring Jeffrey Rush and Armie Hammer called The Final Portrait. And this is a movie that's directed by Stanley Tucci. This is basically, though, about this artist, and Armie Hammer's character kind of is invited to sit for a portrait for him, and he's like, okay, yeah, I can do that, I can, and they were kind of friends for a while, and he kind of goes to sit for him, and this artist is like, he's like kind of flaky, and he's like starts stuff that he doesn't finish. He has all kinds of like work in his house and like sculptures and pictures that have never been finished, and he's kind of like, just the way he acts, he's kind of all over the place. But when he kind of comes for this painting to sit, he thinks it's going to be something where he's going to be able to leave really soon. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm only going to be here for like a day or a couple hours. And it ends up becoming this huge thing. And it kind of shows like day 1, day 2, day 3. And it's like he's kind of, every time he like looks like it's going to get done, he goes and tears it up, or he goes and goes, oh, this isn't right, and he has like breakdowns and all sorts of problems, and it's like, it's kind of like this him dealing with all kinds of problems, and like it's like, and stuff with the painters and Jeffrey Rush's characters, like personal life, he's having problems, and like Armie Hammer's character just really wants to go, but he doesn't want to like let this guy down, and it's just sort of this whole big to-do that he's going through. This is actually kind of a fun movie, just kind of watching like a spiraling out of control of this thing that's like feels like it's never going to get finished. This has on here though some interviews on here with the cast and crew, as well as behind the scenes footage. The next ones here are from the Warner Archive, and this is a movie that I've watched this ever since I was a kid. There's a remake that John Carpenter directed of this one as well. This is Village of the Damned. And I want to say too, Warner Archive 2 just announced that they're going to be releasing Bad Ronald on Blu-ray, which I cannot wait. I don't know when the date is for sure, but I'm so glad that Warner Archive is releasing that. I can't tell you, like, I can't wait to see that movie in HD. But this is basically, though, one that I've watched since I was a little kid. I've always liked this movie. There's a sequel to this one as well. Hopefully they put that one out down the line too on Blu-ray. I don't really remember it, but I always remember this one though. I know I saw the sequel at least once though. This is basically though about this small town, and like something weird ends up happening, and everyone in the town kind of falls asleep and like passes out. and like the army kind of comes in and is kind of investigating the whole thing, and then it ends up basically like all the women that could have kids end up pregnant in this small town, and they're all pregnant from the exact same day, and it's like people that were, you know, were never even with anybody or anything. Like there's everybody becomes pregnant, and of course though the pregnant is basically, you know, everyone that these kids are all these weird blonde-haired kids, and they're all very strange, and they all have like a connection to each other, and it's like they the one, you know, guy is like kind of communicates with the kids better than others, and like the, one thing that was cool too was like when they were first kids, you have it's like the same actor playing all the kids, you know, because it's like when you see like it's like the same kid, you know, in different wigs and everything, but it's essentially though about these just strange kids in this town that have the ability to kind of control people, and there's just something really off about them, and it's kind of like what ended up happening in this town, and like it's kind of like they kind of like don't know what they're gonna do with these kids and everything. I don't know. This movie still, even, you know, this is from like 1960, and this is still a very creepy movie. There's a really creepy aspect to this movie. The whole vibe, and these kids are really creepy. This is one definitely a must watch, and like I said, they did a really good job cleaning this one up. The next one here is from the Warner Archive as well. This is in one, and both of these ones they sent over free to let you guys know about. And this is Supergirl. This stars Faye Dunaway, Peter O'Toole, and Helen Slater, who went on to be in like the Legend of Billie Jean, which is one I really liked, and had great mall scenes. You know me, I love movies set in the malls. But this is you know, the original Supergirl film, because you know that now the Supergirl has a new TV series that's gone. It's not new now; it's been on for like 3 seasons, I believe. And this is kind of about, you know, this is the Supergirl who is, you know, Superman's cousin, and it's basically though Peter O'Toole's character has this kind of like orb that kind of is what controls the power in the world where, you know, Supergirl's character, you know, lives. But the orb ends up falling out into space, and she has to kind of go and get it, retrieve it back. So she goes in this kind of sort of space-type ship thing. But when she gets to Earth, she ends up becoming Supergirl because of the same thing that happened to Superman when, you know, he got to Earth. And it's kind of her trying to get this orb back, but Faye Dunaway's character, who is like thinks of herself as like a witch, grabs this thing and has the power with it, and it's kind of her trying to, you know, get it back. And it's kind of it was a really fun movie. I was just one of those ones I thought I never saw before, but then I was watching, I'm like, this is something I remember watching like as a little kid. This has on here though, what's cool is it has the director's cut on here as well. It has the director's cut on a DVD version of the film, but it has the making of Supergirl. It has a commentary track on here. But this is a fun film. I thought this is definitely a really fun movie for sure. And this one here, I'll let you guys know where to order this one for the best price. And this is a movie here called Casual Sex, starring Leah Thompson and Victoria Jackson. This one, I don't think I had ever seen this one before. And this is basically done, you know, this is originally based on a stage production. And it's basically about Leah Thompson and Victoria Justice's character, who are these friends who've been friends for years. And it's kind of them talking all about their relationships and stuff, and they've kind of had bad luck with men, and like they've, you know, kind of lots of issues, and they've never really found the perfect person. And they're both of them are going to this kind of spa retreat resort, and they're thinking, you know, just kind of to chill out and take our mind off of our problems and everything. And they think maybe they'll meet some guys there, and it's kind of like that's sort of the whole place there is like people kind of coming there to try and meet people. And there's like some really, you know, cheesy kind of characters that they come across there, and like really cheesy guys. Who was in here? Andrew Dice Clay is playing one of the guys, and he's great in this movie. And it's basically though about them there, and like they're both kind of meet people, and that's essentially what it is. It's kind of like them trying to meet people, and kind of like weird encounters at this resort and everything. I thought this was actually kind of funny. I'm always, you know, a fan of Leah Thompson. Of course, you always think of her from Back to the Future, but I always think of her as well from Dennis the Menace, because that was one of the movies as a kid I always really liked. But you know, looks really good on Blu-ray though. The next ones here are from Umbrella Entertainment, and both of these ones are region-free releases, so these are all region. You guys can watch these ones on a US Blu-ray player. You don't have to have a region-free player or anything like that to watch these. And this is the Volume 3 from their Beyond the Genres line that they have, and this is the H.P. Lovecraft's Dagon, and this is, you know, directed by Stuart Gordon, and I really love the artwork on this, on the slipcover here. and it has an inside as well. This is a really cool movie. It's basically though about this guy with his friends who end up going to his girlfriend and their two friends. This guy who recently came into money from like a .com kind of startup company, but they made a lot of money, and they ended up going on this boat trip to Spain, but they end up getting into this terrible rainstorm, and they have to kind of, the guy and his girlfriend have to kind of get to the island to try and help their friends because they had an accident on there. And essentially, though, they get to this island, and it's like some really weird people there, like these weird type of people. And his girlfriend ends up going missing. He has to try and find her, and it's like, I like the guy too. He's like always messing with his glasses and stuff in this whole movie. But it's like some really creepy creatures and these weird creepy stuff going on in here. This is honestly, I think this is a very scary movie. Like, I remember when I first saw this movie, I thought this was a very scary movie. This is just like probably one of my favorite Stuart Gordon movies next to Reanimator, but extremely creepy. Honestly, like I said, seriously, one of the creepiest movies. And this movie here is called Escape from Obsolism. I don't know how to say that for sure, but it's the title that it's known in the U.S. is called No Escape. This is a movie that stars Ray Liotta, Lance Henriksen, Stuart Wilson, and Kevin Dillon. And this is another one. I had not watched this movie in years. This one is region free as well, so you guys can watch this on any player. But I like this movie. This is kind of one of those ones that has like a Mad Max, Waterworld kind of vibe to this a little bit, about Ray Liotta's character who gets sent to this prison. It's this like crazy prison where like everyone kind of runs wild there, and it's like these two groups where it's like these bad group, and they're kind of like the Mad Max kind of bad characters that are kind of like attacking each other. And then Lance Henriksen's character, where on this prison, because everyone's kind of sent there to basically just die on this prison. His guy is kind of like a chilled out kind of guy, and they kind of think they can make their own paradise here on this island. And it's basically, though, Ray Liotta's character doesn't want to participate with this bad group, and they want to kind of bring him in, and he doesn't want to do this, and he doesn't really want to deal with Lance Henriksen's group, and he's kind of not fitting in anywhere and what he's going to do. And it's kind of like the war between both the groups. Like I said, it's really got that Mad Max kind of vibe. You don't hear about this movie very much, but it is honestly a pretty cool movie. It has on here a making of on here, trailers, TV spots on here, but I'm really glad this is on Blu-ray though, because like I said, I had not seen this movie in years, and a really cool one. The next one here is from Wild Eye Releasing. It's a movie here called The League of Superheroes, and this one, I think it also was released, or had the alternate title of The ABCs of Superheroes. And this is like a anthology kind of one where it goes through all the letters of the alphabet, and it has like different little vignettes that are like 2 or 3 minutes long about weird kind of superhero encounters, like this guy, like crazy like guy that turns into Bigfoot because of this like chemical experiment. And it kind of has like one guy that's like a Westworld kind of character, like the gunslinger guy from Westworld. And it ends up being in these like super violent kind of crazy, and some of them are like off the wall kind of wacky kind of like superhero kind of encounters, and like all kinds of weird stuff happens. It's a fun like little like vignettes kind of all together. Uwe Ball kind of appears in here in a cameo. There's a lot of cameos in this one as well. This has on here though a making of documentary, outtakes, and some short films on this. And the last one here, I'll put a link for where you guys can get this one. It's a movie here called Pickings. This is like a noir type film, and it's like about this kind of guy who's trying to buy this bar this woman owns, and he's trying to get he's basically goes in and kind of takes people's businesses if they can't pay, or kind of forces them out if he wants something, and he ends up wanting to get this bar from this woman, and like she's not going to take this, and she's not going to allow this, and it's like I said, it's all done sort of like a Sin City kind of film noir kind of look, like an old school kind of vibe to the look and the lighting and everything. And it's like some really bad kind of characters that are kind of coming in trying to get this woman to kind of give this bar over, and it's kind of like all kind of like crazy stuff that's happening in this one. This has on here though a commentary track on here, behind the scenes, deleted scenes, and a music video on this one. But anyway though guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching, subscribing, I'll see you guys later.